right? Just to get going, nice pulsing trot. I always like to start by going. I always like to start by going. It just gives you the sense of actually going somewhere, doing something, coming to us, getting things a little bit active. And Amy, like we did yesterday now, I want you to start to gradually pick your pace up a little bit. I told you yesterday that it's very important that you get comfortable working at speeds that you're uncomfortable with. Right? I like to think that at home, any chance that I get to work a little bit faster than what I would have to do at the horse show, then when I get to the horse show, I'm ending up working a tiny bit slower when I'm nervous, right? Keep going a little bit, pick your pace up. So at home, I like to work faster than what I anticipate that I'm going to have to do at the horse show. And I like to do that enough that I'm actually comfortable working above the pace. And then when I get to the horse show, and I have to slow down a little bit when I'm nervous, I'm at a speed that's very, very comfortable for me. Now, posting trot should be at about 8 miles an hour. When I look out, I see a very organized, disciplined group that's crawling along at a very sleepy pace. I want you to pick that right up now and get yourselves working at 8 miles an hour at least. And gradually, I'd like to get you comfortable enough that you're working at 8.5 or 9 miles an hour. Then you're going to find a diagonal for me, Amy, which is going to be to the left of the diagonal line of the green and blue oxer and the roll top. Right. And again, I'm going to give you a chance in this direction. Same thing to get yourselves working a little bit up to pace and working forward. And then I'm going to bring you back in, and I'm going to show you a better way to do it. Pick it up a little bit. At the same time, if you want to try and work a little bit above the pace, also very important that in order to do that, you don't sacrifice accuracy, and that's where the spacing piece comes into play a little bit. All right, let's ride back in here in the center. Nice sitting trot. Shortest route back to the middle. Remember, you can come out of order to do it. When you teach riding, one of the things that seems difficult is worrying about what it is you're going to work on. The main thing that you can do, just send your horses out or send your students out, ask them to do something, and then you're going to find things that you notice, right? And I noticed this yesterday and I didn't say anything. You want to be very careful, and maybe there's a reason that you do it. Do you do your own polos? Right? For me, they're a little bit too low. Right? You don't want them to go underneath the ankle, you want them just at the very bottom of the ankle. Right? With a pony like that, you've got to double it up a little bit. Right? So one thing that horses need to be is they need to be responsive. When I see you guys, I send you out there, you're a little bit sleepy in the trot, I ask you to pick it up a little bit and make it a little bit more forward and work a little bit faster. And then I see you close your legs and nothing happens. All right, so the horses aren't quite responsive enough to leg in order for you guys to get the reaction that you want in order to work at the pace that you're uncomfortable with. All right? What kind of bit is that? And what kind of a pelham? All right, so it's a steel straight pelham. All right, very important that you know your tack. When you work with curb chains, and this is good, you have a nice lip strap, which most people don't actually even know about anymore, let alone use. But when you do your curb chain, you've got to be a little fussier about twisting it enough that it ends up hanging straight. Right? Because a twisted curb chain is very uncomfortable. Can you see the difference there? Right? And then after you do that, then you put the lip strap through the lip strap ring, and now you've got everything all set. All right? But it's all about the details. All right? And it's very interesting, I think. The longer you do this, the more you realize how big a difference little tiny details make, all right? The rest of the tactics good. All right. How do you think we can get the horses more responsive to your legs? Amy? All right, what do you think, Chloe? Chloe hates questions. So I'm going to ask her lots of questions. That's actually a very good point, right? One thing that she said is to make sure that your hand isn't interfering with what you're asking for with your legs. That's very important. If you want your horse to go forward from legs, the most important thing really is to make sure that your hand relaxes and allows that to happen. That would be coordination of aids as opposed to clashing aids. Coordinating aids mean your hands and your legs work together to guide and help your horse do whatever it is you ask them to do. Conflicting aids are when you're saying with your hands, please slow down, and with your legs you're saying, please speed up, or other horses go cuckoo on you. What's another way to get that horse more responsive to legs? All right, so yes and no. Always use it intermittently, you're saying, so they don't get dull to the leg. And that's a very valid point. It's a little bit complicated for my taste. I'm not very bright, so I like very simple solutions. What do you think? All right, that's exactly right. You got the stick. All right, give me another way to back up or reinforce or get a better reaction from legs. That's a little bit what she said. What do you think, Son? This is what we call an uncomfortable silence. They're good though. Sorry? I think you tried to say something. No? Alright, so you can use your stick, you can use your spur, you can use your cluck. Alright? I like, especially at this level, to teach the horse to be responsive to the cluck. Alright? I'm going to use the stick to do that. But I like the cluck better than the stick because if I've schooled my horse to be responsive to the cluck, when I use the cluck and I get a reaction, I've got two hands on the reins. Alright, so that if I get an overreaction or something goes wrong, I'm in a position to help manage what I've done. Alright, so I like to use the stick is important, but for me the stick is important because it teaches the horse to listen to the cluck. Alright? Who does not have a stick? You do not. Is there anybody we can get a stick for? Mary? Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to back up a step. When you ask a horse to go forward, in order, what are you going to have, what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do if you ask your horse to go forward? All right, she said close your leg, which is wrong. What's the first thing you'd like to do, Chloe? Organize yourself as yes and no. She said organize yourself, yes and no. Yes and no. I like you to be organized all the time.